Welcome to Compassionate World Radio with Barbara Wilder. Hello, I'm so excited to have my show on Power Me Up Radio Talk 24/7 because compassion is the new power engine to create radical change in your life and in the world. It's evolutionary. And compassion with ourselves and all our flaws is where we have to start. Because when we have compassion for ourselves, it shines out of us to everyone and everything around us. And we each have our own path, our own personal journey to finding compassion for ourselves. Normally, in this part of the show, I tell you a little bit about my guest. But today, I'm going to tell you instead a little bit about me, because today I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe compassion is and how it can help us in our lives. So, my life's passion is to help create a bright new era of compassion and prosperity for all of us. And I've spoken about this internationally for over 20 years. I'm the author of Money is Love, Reconnecting to the Sacred Origin of Money, which is considered one of the foundational works of the sacred economics movement. In it, I share how we can connect money to the divine feminine and transform it into an agent for personal and global prosperity. I also wrote Embracing Your Power, Woman, 11 Steps to Coming of Age in Midlife, which is a radical program that gives women in the second half of life the skills to recognize and embrace and embody their divine feminine power, to step into leadership roles, to co-create a new compassionate and sustainable society in which we all can thrive. I'm also a spiritual life coach and light energy healer, and I work on helping people move into, through, and heal their core trauma and reveal their creative, magnificent selves. My books and workshops and coaching practice have helped thousands of people around the world find their passion and achieve their dreams. So, enough about me. I always like to start the show with a little breathing meditation. So please join me. And if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. So let your eyes fall gently shut. Let all the breath out. And now take a deep, gentle breath into your lungs and hold the breath. And let it go. Now take another gentle deep breath and breathe up into your brain and hold it. Hold it and let it go. And now one more gentle deep breath. And this time, breathe into your heart. And as you hold that breath, you can just feel it expanding your heart, growing your heart. Hold it and release. And now just let yourself relax back into your normal breathing, becoming aware of the rhythm of your breath. And now become aware of the rhythm of your heartbeat. And you can put your hands on your heart or on your pulse and just be with your heartbeat. And now just think of the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And just by thinking that thought, your own heart comes into rhythm with the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And now your heart is beating in rhythm with Mother Earth. My heart is beating in rhythm with Mother Earth. And all of the other listeners' hearts are beating in rhythm with the Mother Earth. So all of our hearts are beating in rhythm together as we sit together in this loving community, our hearts beating together, though we're scattered all over the world. Now slowly open your eyes. Have some water if you have it. And the reason I have people drink water after meditation is because approximately 2/3 of our bodies are made of water. And 90% of our molecules are made of water. So after you've meditated, you've lifted your vibration, and the water takes that new higher vibration through your entire watery body. So today, I want to share with you some of my thoughts on compassion and how our own compassion for ourselves can help us become more compassionate members of our human family. I started this radio show because I would love to live in a more compassionate world. It seems, I know, like an impossibility right now, particularly when we see so much hate and anger and war and killing and people being so divided. But you know, we have to do it. The Dalai Lama says, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. So how do we do it? How do we start to create a more compassionate world? All of the guests I've had on the show in the first couple of months are all people that are bringing compassion to the world in some meaningful way. And I will be introducing you to many more in the future. And these are just a few people that I know. Imagine how many millions of people are doing similar work. It's just that the mainstream media doesn't cover this. These stories aren't reported. And that is why I want to bring as many stories about compassion to you here on this show, so that you can share them and begin to discover other stories. Because you've ever noticed when you begin to think about something, you begin to see it everywhere. And also, please let me know if you know someone you think would be a good person for me to have on the show. You can just email me at barbara@barbarawilder.com. But what I really want to focus on today is self-compassion, because everything is an inside job. And I believe that the thing that creates so much stress in our lives and in our dealing with each other is because no one has taught us to have compassion for ourselves. There's a lot of talk about self-love. And yes, I believe we ultimately must love ourselves. But love is such a big word. It carries a lot of baggage too. And how do we learn to love ourselves if we've never been loved, for instance? Or what does love feel like exactly? Because what we're talking about here with self-love is unconditional love. So it occurred to me recently, why not start with something that is perhaps a little bit easier? A smaller bite, you might say. And what better place to start than compassion? Okay, I know everyone talks about compassion, but what does it mean exactly? What is compassion? How do we be compassionate? So to answer that, I went first to the dictionary. And this is what the dictionary says. Compassion, a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for another who who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate the suffering. That's pretty strong stuff. What if you felt that for yourself? Think about it. I'm going to read it again. Take a moment to settle yourself. And now listen to these words as if they are applying to you. A feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for a person who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate the suffering. A feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow and a strong desire to alleviate the suffering. What if that was the first way you responded when you've done something that was perhaps unkind, or you hurt someone's feelings, or you messed up at work, or you're afraid you could lose your job? Do you immediately think of having deep sympathy for yourself and wanting to alleviate your suffering? Do you? Probably no. It's much more likely that you will start berating yourself. Say you've done something stupid at work and you're afraid that you really screwed up. My guess is, is that you would be saying to yourself something like, I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. What the hell was I thinking? Now I'm going to have to pay for it. And then those words and that cringing feeling continue running around in your head and in your nervous system. And then after a few days, if all turns out okay and you didn't lose your job or get in too much trouble, you begin thinking that you got over it and you go on with your life. But in truth, you really don't get over it. You push it into the back of your mind. But every once in a while, the memory of that stupid thing you did pops back up. And you relive it for a moment. And you do this enough times, and your subconscious mind builds up a belief that you are stupid and an idiot and mess up all the time. So think about it. What does this do for your self-esteem? If you tell a child that they're stupid or bad, enough times they grow up believing that it's true. And if you've witnessed that happening to a child, you would probably feel deep sympathy for their suffering and want to alleviate their pain. You would have compassion for that child. Why not treat yourself the same way? Now, I'm not saying that you should think of yourself as a victim of the cruel world. Not at all. I'm all for taking responsibility for our actions and learning from our mistakes. I'm just saying, get off your case. Own up to what you think or did or didn't do. And at the same time, take a little time to lick your wounds. Be kind to yourself. And then you'll be coming from a totally new place when you deal with the consequences. And I need to take a moment out for station identification. This is Compassionate World Radio with Barbara Wilder. And today I'm talking about self-compassion. And now we're back. So let's break this down. Let's say that you did something that really was a big mistake and you lost your job from it. So two things are often what happens. First, you go to kicking yourself for screwing up. I am an idiot. I'm such a failure. I do this crap all the time. So how are you going to get out of this self-flagellation? You can turn all your hurt and anger at the boss. The boss was a jerk. It was an impossible place to work. And you can stay in this blame place for a long time, maybe even forever. Even after you've gotten a new job and you've moved on, You've just shoved it, all that hurt and anger and blame into your subconscious, where it joins all the other times you've made similar mistakes and treated yourself so terribly. And this creates a pattern. And that pattern continues to attract opportunities to keep making the same mistakes. And it is that hurt and angry part of you that needs some attention, some love and caring. And until it gets it, it will keep popping up to get your attention. The second part of the definition of compassion is the action step to alleviate suffering. So what if the action step for you is giving yourself a little compassion? What if you just took some time and licked your wounds? What if you take some time to sit with and look at this angry, hurt you and say, oh, I'm so sorry that I'm going through this again. I know I'm a good person. I know that I am hurting and angry right now. And I really want to help myself let go of this pain, wherever it comes from. I do care for me, and I'm going to find a way to make it better. And then do an action. Take yourself to your favorite safe place, at home under a blanket, or maybe a quiet place in nature, or drive along the seashore. Whatever makes you feel safe and happy. And just say loving things to yourself. And every time you find yourself saying, but I'm such a failure, I'm such an idiot, tell that voice, that's not true. You made a mistake, but you're still a good person. And stay with your self-compassion time out until you realize that you need to forgive yourself, and then do it. This is what will help you make permanent change in your life. Because once you feel that you're a good person, you can start to examine what you did and how you can change it in the future. A really gentle way to begin to understand what compassion is and how it feels is to watch videos about dogs being rescued, especially the ones where the dog has been terribly abused and is terrified of the humans that are trying to help them. And just watching the video, you will begin to feel true compassion for this dear little dog. And as you continue watching the video, the humans who are working with the scared little dog are so filled with compassion, and they're attempting to alleviate its suffering. As the video continues, the dog slowly begins to trust a little and begins to heal. And when it does heal and finally trusts and is finally happy, we, the audience, feel so good. And that good feeling, that is compassion. We learn compassion, what it feels like as we watch this healing. The good humans that are working with the dog never blame the dog. They just understand that it's had a rough time and it needs to feel safe and eventually even loved. Now, I want to make this clear. Having compassion for yourself doesn't mean that you're having a pity party. Not at all. This is about the most excellent part of yourself, being compassionate and caring to a part of yourself that is in need of healing. It's sort of like a loving father or mother with a child who's had a bad day. And of course, just like the human with the rescued dog, this takes perseverance. The wonderful thing about the dog that becomes trusting and feeling safe is it will share all that love and companion with its human and be your best friend for life. And once you give this kind of compassion to yourself on a regular basis, you'll begin to feel better more of the time. And you'll be able to bounce back more quickly when stuff isn't going well. And your heart will become stronger. And your ability to feel compassion for others will just blossom from your heart. And people feel good just being around you. And your self-compassion will then cause a ripple effect. And you'll find yourself working maybe in a place that feels trusting and safe. Of course, we're always going to have challenges, and accepting that and not striving to make your life perfect, but being self-compassionate and caring with each new challenge will make them so much easier to weather. Our culture doesn't want or value compassion. Our culture is based on winning and striving and competing, being the best, not failing, not taking time to listen, the time to care for ourselves or others. Fear is the engine that drives our culture, and this is not sustainable for life. I say in the beginning of each show, I love that my show is here on Power Me Up Radio, Talk 24/7, because compassion is the new power engine to create radical change in your life and in the world. It's evolutionary. We are living in a time of great change. We are evolving as a human species. My teacher taught that there is no such thing as evil. There are just counter-evolutionary forces. And this is what we see today. The forces that are resisting evolution are putting up a fight. Oh, such a fight. But evolution is a force that cannot be stopped. And your own evolution is in progress. It is a great challenge, but it is made easier when we get into the stream and flow in the direction it's going. And your life raft is compassion. Put it in the primary position in your life and let it carry you to the new shore. As you sit listening to this, how does it make you feel? Ask yourself right now, feel into the question. Can you feel something in your heart? Take a few moments and just breathe into your heart gently. Now think of a time when you did something or when in a situation that made you feel crummy. It can be anything, something that whenever you think about it makes you cringe. You feel stupid about it and you just can't shake it. And you know you should forgive yourself, but it's really stuck in your head. Now get that feeling. Now close your eyes and just keep thinking about it. But begin to put your attention on your breathing and pay attention to what the voice in your head is saying. You may even feel this cringing feeling in your solar plexus, in your nervous system. Now think of giving your heart permission to say, I'm so sorry you feel this way. I know you didn't mean to say that or do that. I know that you are a really good person. And as you talk, see this little you, like a mini me sitting in front of you, and see if you can feel into your heart compassion or care or even love, soothing your little you. And sit with this for a few moments and breathe into this feeling, even if it's very subtle. You are such a good person. Let yourself know it as much as you can, as often as you can. Whenever you're walking around and start to think a bad thought about yourself, just stop for a minute, think of the little you and just say you're wonderful, or you're strong, or you're courageous. Be the change you want to see in the world. As millions and billions of us choose compassion, the tipping point will be met no matter how hard the counter-evolutionary forces try to stop it. That's truth. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back next week with more compassionate chat. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, visit barbarawilder.com. Bye for now, and have a compassionate week.